Okay, so this is a presentation on should blood type superstition be kept or abolished? So first of all, what's the theory about? It all started with this person named Takeji Furukawa. He was a Japanese educator and a psychologist who used to work at the high school administration department, and he had the opportunity to observe applicants' temperamental differences depending on their blood types. And he's the first one to propose that there's a relationship between blood types and personality traits. His proposal triggered so many scientists to do further research on the blood psychology in the 1950s, 60s, and 70s. And then this book, called Understanding Affinity by Blood Type, written by Masahiko Nomi, was published. This explained Furukawa's research in further way, and this became a bestseller book in Japan. So, this is a chart that explains the brief description of what each blood type is supposed to have, what kind of personality traits they're supposed to have. First, blood type A is supposed to be very neat, well-mannered personality. And blood type B is supposed to be very selfish and immature. Blood type O is supposed to be very outgoing, passionate, and enthusiastic. And the last, blood type AB is supposed to be very aloof, indifferent, and impassionate. But are these descriptions, adjectives, really accurate? In this presentation, I'm going to disprove this. First, I conducted this survey and I asked 50 responders to check as many boxes they want out of these 10 items. These are 10 different personality traits, and if they think they have these personality traits, I ask them to check it. I want you to take a close attention to these 10 personality traits and try to guess which of the four blood types A, B, AB, and O match to these all of these 10 items or personality traits. I'll give you a few seconds. Okay, so the answer is blood type A. That means all those 10 personality traits that you've just seen, are supposed to be owned by blood type A people. So here's a result. The average number of checked boxes for each blood type. I made a chart, I made a graph for this. As you look at the graph, you see that blood type B checked the most boxes in the average. And the obvious hypothesis is that blood type A is supposed to be the highest, and they're supposed to check the most boxes because all those 10 items are supposed to describe blood type A people. But blood type A, AB, and O are having similar numbers, and B is having the highest number. So, this means that the theory is no longer accurate, or it's not perfect anymore. Second, I would like to explain what blood type is, just briefly. So here's a chart. How what your blood type is determined. Second, I just want to explain how blood type is determined and what blood type is. This chart helps you to understand how blood types are determined. For blood type A, on your red blood cell, there's a A antigen and B antibody. For blood type B, there's B antigen and A antibody. For blood type AB, you have both A and B antigens and no antibodies. And the last, for blood type O, you have no antigens and you have both A and B antibodies. Easy way to memorize this is if you add up what you have for antigens and antibodies, it will add up to A and B. So why is this so important? The occasion that you have to care about this the most is the blood transfusion. For example, if you're having a patient and if you're asking a donor to donate their blood, you have to be careful that the patient's blood type and the donor's blood type should match. Because, for example, if the patient has blood type A and if the donor has blood type B, what happens is that blood type A has antigen A, of course, and blood type B has antibody A. And when the same letter of antigen and antibody matches or meets, it causes a reaction. And it becomes very mortal and it becomes very dangerous. So this is why the blood type of patient and donor should match. So, but the question is, how do this how does this antigen and antibody issue have anything to do with personality traits? Well, the answer is there is not. It's a little different story, but you might have heard of RH plus or RH minus, and you might have seen these ARH plus or BRH minus. And I'm going to explain this, and this leads to the another point that I want to make in order to disprove this theory. What determines if you have RH plus or RH minus is antigen D. If you have antigen D on your red blood cell, you have RH plus, and if you don't, you have RH minus. And that division of RH occurs for every four of the ABO blood type system. So I'm going back to the last slide. So since each blood type AB, and O has both RH and RH minus, RH plus and RH minus, they're 2 times 4 equal to 8. There are already 8 different combinations. So isn't it unreasonable to just focus on the 4 blood types while there are 8 different combinations? In fact, there are many more antigens discovered by now. There are about 600 antigens, and there are 32 different blood types discovered by scientists. So it is even more unreasonable to focus on just 4 categories of blood types and personality traits. And in fact, the ratio of blood types in Japan is considered to be 4 to 3 to 2 to 1. The 40% is A, 30% is O, 20% is B, and 10% is AB. What I'm trying to say is that the sum of blood type A and O adds up to 70%, which is the majority of the population. And there's another study conducted to see which of those four blood types get offended the most by this personality traits and blood type relationship or that stereotype. In fact, blood type B gets offended the most, and blood type AB gets offended the second most. What this means is that, as you've just seen on the graph, B and AB are two minority blood types. So what happens is that the media is trying to deliver information that are preferred by the majority of people. So that's why blood type A and O are described with more positive adjectives or descriptions compared to these B and AB, which are the minority. In fact, blood type B is described as very selfish, and blood type AB is described as very indifferent. They're both negatives. So that's why there's some media manipulation going on. Let's take another example. There are Native Americans, and some research found out that for some tribes, the most percentage of their blood types was blood type O, and the percentage was almost 100%. So the contradiction here is that if almost all the members of tribes have blood type O, are they supposed to have exact same personalities that are thought to be owned by blood type O? It is really hard to think that way. It is not very convincing. Of course, some members might have been very hardworking, or selfish, outgoing, or indifferent. So this is another reason that you should not believe in, or rather, the blood type personality traits theory is not very convincing. So is there a contradiction? Yes. So the question is, can we still believe it? Well, it is up to you. Of course, it is not something you have to follow, or rather, it is not something that you cannot believe in. So it is just freedom for you to believe this. But if this theory leads to bullying or any discrimination, it is not very good to believe in this cultural stereotype. Do you know this movie called Riaru Onigoko? In this movie, the target is all is everyone with a blood type B, and they're being chased by these robotics looking guys, and they're chased until they get caught and they're getting killed. As you've seen, now blood type B is the minority of the population, so it is not a good thing to choose minority people as a target and do this kind of discrimination. So again, it is up to you if you want to believe in the theory, but you should not forget to be peaceful and heartful. Thank you.